Welcome to the RAD Sports Show, where the takes are hot, the vibes are right, and sports talk is always unfiltered.
Righteous.
With your hosts, Rick Horn.
Yeah, that's right. The man with the golden voice.
And I thought insurance salesmen were pushy.
And Danny Gilmore.
Sounds like some Lord of the Ring creature.
That's barbaric.
So sit back, crack open a drink, and let's talk some sports.
May 22nd, 2026, the RAD Sports Show. Rick Horn and Danny Gilmore, your somewhat capable hosts, coming at you live on another Friday night. Thanks for joining us. We've got some Netflix MMA to talk about, and don't worry, our recap will last longer than the main event, I promise. We'll go into the UFL Power Rankings along with some possible expansion locations, and then we've got NFL schedule releases, the Stanley Cup Conference Finals, and some more general overall buffoonery. So let's get into it. Danny, what's going on, man? How was your week?
Episode 2, Rick. Man, I had a long week. I had a long day, just long everything. I'm happy for a 3-day weekend. Happy to come and chill with my boy and talk about sports. So, yeah. How was your weekend?
It wasn't bad, honestly. I ended up getting my new grill and whatnot set up. I was using for the longest time. I just had it was a combination propane and charcoal grill. So anytime I wanted to smoke stuff, I just had coals there in the bottom of the pan there, and just I would smoke it that way. And in fact, there's this rib recipe that I came up with when I was completely hammered. I've learned that Hammered Rick is a great chef. But I'm excited to I actually have an offset barbecue smoker now, so I'm excited to give that a shot.
I was going to ask if you actually ever got a smoker before, because I don't have a barbecue right now. I use a smoker or I just cook inside, which
there you go.
I should learn to barbecue more.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited about it. Hopefully I can get those ribs going here pretty soon, but yeah, let's talk some sports, man. A lot of stuff happened. Did you end up catching the entirety of the Netflix MMA event?
I did, actually. I think I missed some of the early prelims, so I might take that back. The prelims were really exciting. I think there may have been one decision, but most of them were finishes and a lot more submissions, like in this round. One of them was really interesting during the prelims. I think it was the last prelim, and I couldn't tell you who the name of the fighters are, but
right.
This one guy was he really won at least 2 of the 3 rounds, at least he might have won all 3, but he got rear naked choked with like 5 seconds left in the match. So bell rings, he gets let go, and he's unconscious. So
yeah.
Did you see that?
I did not. My wife and I took a little day trip up to Washington, D.C. and did some
nice.
Touristy stuff up there, which is an awesome time. I can't wait to go see more of that. So I only caught mainly the main card. I don't know that I saw any of the prelim cards, but nevertheless, there is a lot to talk about with that event for sure. So let's get into it.
WTF did I just watch?
That sure didn't last long.
It's time for the RAD Sports Show Netflix MMA Recap.
The Netflix MMA Recap, Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. Gina Carano, 17 years removed from mixed martial arts competition. The fight took 17 seconds. And I think I read somewhere that there was supposedly 17 million people watching it at one point during the
good numbers.
Card. So
I'm not a ratings expert, but I would imagine that's pretty good.
I'm not either. And I want to say I watched a video of Chael Sonnen. He's kind of become almost like, not necessarily energy-wise, but he's almost MMA's Pat McAfee, the former, in this case, fighter, Pat McAfee, former player.
Okay. Yeah.
But he is kind of like MMA's Pat McAfee, I would say. He has a YouTube channel that I love watching, and he kind of gives his takes on upcoming fights or, just stuff happening in the UFC or MMA. And he said that the Netflix MMA card, he asked the question are those actually good numbers? Because the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson card had 10 times those numbers as far as viewership goes.
Really?
So, I don't know. But then at the same time,
you got to compare to the UFC, though, don't you think? And I really don't know what their numbers are. The Mike Tyson thing, because even if you don't watch boxing, you're going to watch it. It's just kind of it's just such a random thing to happen. So I don't know if it's the same as something like this. Like, Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey aren't nowhere near in the same stratosphere as Mike Tyson. So for Mike Tyson to come out and say he's going to do, because I think he's the best fighter who ever lived. He disagrees. He thinks it's Muhammad Ali. I don't think so. I think it's Mike Tyson. So for him to come back, it's to me is the equivalent of Michael Jordan coming back and playing like one more game for the Bulls in a real game. I don't watch basketball. I watch a little bit, but not much. I would absolutely join in and watch that. You know what?
That's fair. And honestly, I would say Mike Tyson is in general a much bigger name than Gina Carano. I love Gina Carano. I've been a fan of hers since, I can remember back in high school watching her fights before anybody even knew Ronda Rousey's name. So there are diehards out there, but Mike Tyson is, people who don't even watch boxing know who Mike Tyson is or couldn't tell you anything about boxing. I guarantee there is at least a small handful of people that people can name, boxers that people can name, and I guarantee you Mike Tyson is one of them. Guaranteed. 100%.
Oh, yeah. No, if you can name a boxer, you can name Mike Tyson. Or it's Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, right?
Right.
But, Gina Carano, the hard fact is, unless you're a real MMA fan, maybe she's a household name at one point, and definitely a lot more once you start acting. But unless you're not a big fan of MMA, you're just not gonna know who that is. Ronda Rousey, you probably know who that is. Even if you don't know her name, you'd probably recognize her face. But I got a question for you, Rick, before we talk about these fights.
Sure.
In terms of Gina Carano, is there a sport where you can take 17 years off and still be competitive?
That's a good question. That is honestly
the only thing I can think of is
like
golf, maybe.
Yeah, it's ironic that you mentioned that because I just watched Happy Gilmore 2 today while I was folding laundry, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but that's like kind of part of the shtick.
I didn't finish
it, but yeah. So the whole thing is he's been retired. He retired because he accidentally killed his wife when he was driving a ball, and then he ends up coming back because he needs money and he's drunk and this, that, and the third. But anyway, I really can't think of an example when, hey, look, our old buddy Rob tuning into the show said he loves the show. Hey, appreciate it, man.
Hey,
appreciate the love and support, buddy. Rob. Yeah. But no, I can't think of an example where an athlete a well-known athlete has spent that much time out of their respective sport and come back. I mean, other than Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson,
right. And that's the thing, is that it just seems that, and I wasn't necessarily asking a particular person, but a sport where you could potentially do that. And I feel like fighting is definitely not one of those sports.
Right.
It's one of those things, like, even like the Mike Tyson fight, we were like, this could happen, and then, I don't know. And then by the time it was done, like, what were we thinking? Mike Tyson's 60 years old. Of course he's not going to win,
And that's, I guess that's part of what you could point to as well, is that Gina Carano, now mind you, yes, she has been out of the sport for 17 years now. However, she's quite a bit younger than Mike Tyson. She'll turn 44 this year, I believe. So, and again, as a Gina Carano fan, I was rooting like crazy for Gina Carano. You have to give her major props for the fact that she lost 100 pounds. Like, she was very, very overweight. She lost 100 pounds to get ready for this fight. So I think a lot of people out there that are saying, oh, this fight was rigged, this, that, and the third. I don't buy that. I don't think it was a rigged fight. I just think that, unfortunately, ended up being a super disappointing product, at least for the main event. But then at the same time, are we really surprised, right, about the result? I mean, this is not the first time that Ronda Rousey has slapped an armbar on somebody in under 25 seconds. I think I wish I had brought it here, but I had taken some notes down. There were, if you go back and look at her MMA record for Ronda Rousey, she has first round arm bars like 25 seconds, 25 seconds, 16 seconds, 14 seconds. So this is not actually even, I do know that there were at least two that were quicker than 17 seconds, So
yeah,
it's not even her fastest finish. But I will say, as far as the main event of this card goes,
This could have been an email.
Oh, do it one more time. It skipped out.
sure.
This could have been an email.
Hopefully it worked well enough that time. But yeah, it could have been an email. What I will say about the card as a whole, I did find it entertaining. There was one fighter in particular. I think I'm sorry if I butcher his name, but there was this French dude, Saladin Perennes, I believe his name was. I think you and I were talking in our fantasy football chat while that fight was happening. But Saladin Perennes was awesome against Kenneth Cross, I believe the guy's name was. He looked like the real deal. I don't remember all of his accolades, and I'm going to try to look him up while I've got him here. But he had multiple championships in other smaller non-UFC promotions, and he looked every bit of as good as anything. So
let me look at the I got the card run up right here. Versus the Kenneth Cross, yeah. No, he did look good. I did like that.
yeah.
Before we started the segment, I was talking about the one of the prelim fighters, where the fight ended. Like he hadn't tapped out yet. The round or the fight ended. It was the end of the fight, wasn't the end of the round. And when he let go of him, he was unconscious. So they actually, and I've never seen this in any MMA before, and I thought that was totally crazy. But they actually went back and did a booth review, basically. So, who's that ref? Who's Herb Dean, and the ref with what I'm talking about, the old guy with a mustache.
I forget his name, Mike something or another, but yeah, that epic, just Viking looking.
Yeah. So him and those two and the two other guys are all huddled around a monitor, and they're all talking and pointing out and going over the review, and they ended up giving it to the guy who choked him out. So if that didn't count, they would have the guy who's being choked would have absolutely won. So I thought that was a really interesting, and I don't really know how I really feel about that, because I think there should be enough time for the ref to notice that you're unconscious if you happen to be unconscious. And I don't know if you remember, this happened to Matt Hughes a while ago, where I think he was choking someone and he was getting choked, and the other guy went limp first, and then when they stopped the fight, they let Matt Hughes go, and then he kind of plopped over, and then he just whoa, what happened? They're like, you won. So, and it was a little different case because the other guy looked much more like he was being, choked. So, so it's just a weird situation. I personally feel like reviews should be reserved for eye pokes, and if someone gets kicked in the nuts, to verify that they weren't lying, trying to take a free break.
Right, and then if it does seem like they're embellishing, maybe deduct a point or give a warning or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like the way, honestly, this is the way this finished. The fact that ref, he was conscious until, and then the guy held probably a second or two after the bell rang. So I don't know. I don't like it. I think they should have I think the other guy should have won. But anyway, what other fights did you like?
Yeah, I didn't catch that one again. I only really was able to watch by the time we got home from DC. I really only mainly watched the main card. The one fight that was super tough to watch, man, was the Nate Diaz Mike Perry fight. I mean, my gosh, I know there were some people in our chat saying like, "Nah, he was just super high because he's Nate Diaz." But I'm sorry, like, I love Nate Diaz. He's been one of the more entertaining UFC fighters in recent memory. Definitely one of the, his name will definitely be in the Hall of Fame someday, I think.
Yeah,
but that was a tough fight to watch. That was a very, very. I mean, Mike Perry just. Credit to Nate Diaz in terms of his toughness. It doesn't matter how badly you beat that guy up. He's not going to give up whatsoever. He kept coming back, but he had nothing to offer. His body, regardless of his mental toughness, his body had nothing to offer. I honestly thought that either A, they should have stopped it, or Mike Perry honestly could have very easily finished the fight from maybe even the first round, but certainly within the second round. I know the doctor stopped it right at the bell of the second round, like before they went into round 3. But I felt like either Mike Perry should have went and finished him and not just dragged him along. And I don't know if that was more of a, hey, let's continue to try to put on a show or what the case, or maybe Mike Perry gassed himself out. I don't know. But
I don't think so. I actually think Mike Perry just put on a really clinical performance. I think it was a main event fight. So if I remember, I think it was right. There's a co-main event, and I think it was 5 rounds. Don't quote me on that. And there's definitely a different fight style when you're going that long. And I think Mike Perry, I thought he looked phenomenal. He just very clinical, kind of sharp shooting boxing. And you're right. He wasn't throwing a lot of power for knockouts or anything like that. But I think he just looked. I think he looked phenomenal. So I don't want to take anything away from Mike Perry. I'd love to see him in a UFC fight or a more. Well, I'll tell you what. They're actually saying that they are for sure going to do another Netflix fight. So if that's the case, then they might need to start putting the belts together. But
yeah, even if it's one of those kind of gimmicky belts like the BMF belt. Hey, real quick, just wanted to give a quick shout out to Steve Rennett. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Good evening, Lord Rick, my faithful spewer of sports and questionable judgment.
Do you know this guy?
I think I do know who this is. I think I legitimately think I do know who this is.
Enhance.
But I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it. But I think that's a buddy of mine that you probably know of. But anyway,
okay.
Steve, welcome to the show, buddy. Steve, welcome to the show. Yeah, as far as Netflix MMA is concerned and most valuable promotions, I think for Netflix, they're really branching their company out. And then, oh, snap, look who we got here. We have the man himself, Excalibur from St. Louis with a caw.
Hell yeah, dude.
Excalibur's awesome. If you don't know who Excalibur is one of the most amazing UFL super fans. I've gotten a chance to hang out with him a couple of times at the 2020 home opener and the 2024 regular season finale. He's an awesome guy. Appreciate you, buddy. No, as far as Netflix goes, though, they've really branched out aside from just having movies. I know they've had some live concerts to include comedians and whatnot, but now they have some data to look at as far as boxing goes, as far as MMA goes, and they can, kind of call their shots, with what they want to do next. I think if they do start doing belts, that's going to be a lot on most valuable promotions, MVP, because they're going to have to come up with weight classes and stuff like that. There's a lot of planning. I think if they do go that route, they probably go into some of the more gimmicky belts like the UFC has, the BMF belt and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
it'd be interesting how. I mean, it might be one of those things. Might just do a couple of these kind of like one-off. Just we'll sign one-fight deals to all these guys for a little bit, see whoever we can get, and if we get have enough traction, then and then create a big enough pool so you at least have like 10 guys in each division. Then that might be the time to go ahead and put some belts together.
Sure. One question I do have for you, because for me, again, as a Gina Carano fan, I was super disappointed not to even be able to get to see her fight, like, whatsoever. And shame on her. She probably should have known that Ronda was immediately going to go for a takedown. But I was excited to see, like, hey, you took 17 years off. You've been training your ass off to lose 100 pounds. And here you are. I know 17 years ago, the summer after I graduated high school, she was a really, really good Muay Thai fighter. So does she fight again? Obviously, she would be a striker. So my question would be, if Gina Carano were to fight again, who should she fight?
Chris Cyborg, I guess. I mean, it's, I think it would have to be another retired fighter, and it would just have to be a big name.
Is Chris Cyborg retired?
Isn't she?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Chris Cyborg's retired or not.
Oh, well, if she was fighting 17 years ago, I feel like all right.
No, yeah, but I think Chris Cyborg has been more active
Chris
recently.
Cyborg
I think she fights in PFL. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, she is not currently retired, but she is in the final stretch of her storied combat season. Blah 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 blah. Okay. God, how old is she?
Cyborg's got to be close to, if not in her 40s as well.
Gosh.
I think if not, I mean, that would be interesting because you'd have the rematch. That was Gina's last fight. Okay, she's 40. That was Gina's last fight before she retired, before she fought Ronda Rousey. I think if you were to have Gina fight again, and I would, I would be all in on it, but if you were to have Gina Carano fight again and actually see her fight, it has to be a striker. And I think the one name that stands out to me would be Holly Holm. Because, and yes, Holly's been more active, but they're both basically the same age. Both of them are strikers. If you want to give Gina one more fight to say, hey, you worked this hard, you should have a shot to be able to show what you've been working on, for your big comeback to last longer than 17 seconds against Ronda. Holly Holm seems like the fight to me, and I'm sure Holly wouldn't turn down the paycheck.
You didn't lose any, you didn't lose anything from like that fight. You don't have to go rest up for a while. So if you lose that quick from a submission, or you're fresh and ready for another one. Holly Holmes is actually one of my all-time favorite fighters. So I mean, specifically because of the Ronda Rousey fight. So she's always been a hero of mine because she was just the biggest underdog, and she ended up not just accidentally, kind of falling into a win, but like absolutely beat the brakes out of Rousey. I think that would be a great matchup. What before we go on, what do you think about? I feel like of all the mainline fighters who we knew about, like I didn't really know who Mike Perry was. Maybe Mike Perry is a huge name, and the two of us are just kind of scratching our heads, like I don't know who this guy is, or some of these other guys.
I'm familiar with Mike Perry. He used to be in the UFC, and he fairly recently, I want to say, did bare knuckle boxing as well, the BKFC.
Right. And we talked about that. But I feel like the guy who's still like, I think maybe at the end of his prime, but definitely still in his prime, and could keep going, like headline any fight, is Francis Ngannou. So
Francis Ngannou, man, and I want to know who bought off on that, because that guy that he fought. I mean, credit to him. Francis even said, like, he's a lot tougher than I thought he would be. But if you looked at the weigh-ins, Felipe Lenz was 37 pounds lighter than Francis Ngannou, and not to count like the fact that Francis Ngannou had a 5-inch reach advantage, which I'm sure most of the opponents that he fights, he probably has a reach advantage. I want to say he's like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. But
I don't think he's not that tall. I think he's 6'4".
Let's take a look.
But
see.
he's still.
either way, he's a big dude, and he had a pretty decent reach advantage on him
right.
and a 30. Oh yeah, 6'4". You're right. But
we don't need to talk about it. Move on.
no, but a 37-pound weight difference. Like, they were basically in a different weight class, and he looked every bit of it. And Felipe Lenz was not. He didn't look. If you looked at just photos of him individually, he doesn't look like a small guy. But boy, did he look small compared to Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, and Ngannou is probably like the only guy I can think of who was that fit as like the top end of the heavyweight was Overeem. Alistair Overeem.
Alistair Overeem. Yep.
Right,
He just officially retired recently.
Oh, no shit. And he was, but that was when he was absolutely juiced to the gills. But when they started cracking down on it, all of a sudden it was like, oh man, you're looking a little, tubby there, buddy. But I'm not one to complain or to like, call people that. But
right,
yeah, cool.
We'll see what happens as far as MVP goes and as far as Netflix MMA. I will say it was really cool having a Netflix subscription and being able to come home, not having to worry about using some like backdoor streaming service or dropping $60-$70 to watch a UFC fight. That was cool. So I think they're on to something as far as that goes. I just don't know where they go from here. I think they have potential, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens next with that. So,
yeah.
But
I'll definitely watch the next one.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Whatever's next.
All right, you ready to talk some spring football?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
Overreacting so you don't have to. It's the RAD Sports Show, UFL Power Rankings.
The UFL Power Rankings will also be talking some expansion tonight and some UFL playoff clinching situations. So let's take a look at our respective power rankings here. We're this I think is actually a little bit, we're further apart than we were last week. We're the exact same at the top. If you're listening to the show on Spotify after the live stream, you can come see all these videos on our YouTube channel. Just look up the RAD Sports Show. But here we have our power rankings. We both have the Orlando Storm and St. Louis Battlehawks at 1 and 2 respectively. And then from there until we get down to number 8 at the Columbus Aviators, we're all over the place. So you have the DC Defenders at number 3, whereas I have the... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say just...
The game's on right now, and they're getting their ass kicked by Orlando, 21-10, and it's still in the second
quarter. So, and I don't know. I think part of my reasoning was just kind of what the schedule was looking like. They just got beat by Louisville twice. And was Tiamo officially out when I picked them at third? Because
I honestly can't remember. Okay. But unfortunately, yes, Jordan Teamu is out for the season, which is why. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think yours is a little more accurate than mine at this point, but yeah.
I think whenever I originally made the image for these power rankings, I had put an asterisk next to the DC Defenders, and that was going to be dependent on the health of Jordan Teamu, which is why I have them down there at number 5. But yes, the DC Defenders are in trouble right now. They're playing the Orlando Storm. What's the score right now?
21-10.
21-10. Wow.
2 minutes left in the first half.
And they play Orlando next week as well. So for them, they've got a tough road ahead. Obviously, they've got to find a way to pull out a win tonight, hopefully. Although that's not the only means by which they can clinch a playoff spot. But again, they've got to play Orlando next week, which is just brutal. As for me, I've got the Louisville Kings. They're at number 3. I know Jordan Teamu obviously got hurt and ended his season against Louisville last week. But here we have two.
It was game 2 when that happened, though. They beat him the first time with him. And
right. That's exactly what I was just about to say. We have 2 weeks in a row where the Louisville Kings handled business pretty convincingly against DC. So I'm bought in. I know our buddy Tom has been making the case for a while.
Tommy
about
boy.
DC. Yeah, Excalibur says without Teamu, DC is toast. 100%. I agree. It's unfortunate because I still have a soft spot for Jordan Teamu, him being our original quarterback. But no, the Louisville Kings look good, man. Our buddy Tom is 100% right. He was making the case long before you and I did, I think, or maybe at least myself, but that Louisville was creeping their way into the top three. And I don't think that the UFL has Louisville in their top three for their power rankings, but for my money, absolutely. I have them as the third best team right now. And not far behind them, although technically if the season were to end today, it would be Orlando, St. Louis, DC, and Birmingham, because they're tied with Birmingham as far as record goes, but Birmingham owns the tiebreaker, having beat Louisville in week 1. So
Yeah.
now as far as playoff clinching scenarios go, for this week specifically, I put both DC and St. Louis in red because they could, in theory, clinch this week, right? So if DC were to win tonight, or if Birmingham loses this week, they'll clinch a playoff spot. And then for St. Louis, if they win and either DC or Birmingham or Louisville loses this week, St. Louis will clinch a playoff spot. For the other two teams that I think have a legitimate chance, I mean, even technically all the way down to the Columbus Aviators, on paper, they're not out technically, but a lot of stuff
that's what I was about
happen.
to ask. At this point, no one is officially eliminated yet.
No one is officially eliminated. I put these 4 teams on here because these are the 4 teams that I think have the best shot to claim one of those last 3 remaining playoff spots. Obviously, Orlando has already clinched a spot, come whatever may. They're just playing for seeding at this point. But
Isn't it weird how we're at this is week 9, right? Right, we're
Yep,
all the way to
week
week 9, and we've had 2 teams that we thought were just like nothing's gonna stop them. They just look like they're on a tear, and they're gonna be the number 1 seed. I know it's not. I guess they are seeds, and it's still 4-man playoffs, but and most likely those 2 teams, Dallas Renegades and DC Defenders, won't make the playoffs.
yeah, that's tough. And I'll tell you, it's been crazy for DC. We talked about it last week, how they started out the season completely red hot, looked like far and away the best team in the league. Austin Reed was on absolute fire, gave us every answer as far as why did they not roll out with Luis Perez like they have in years past.
Yeah.
But ever since they lost to Columbus, man, it's just been a downward spiral down the toilet for those guys.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. A lot of stuff has to happen for them to make, for really any of the other teams that are not here on the screen. And for those listening on Spotify, we've got DC, St. Louis, Birmingham, and Louisville as the 3 most likely teams to clinch, 4 most likely teams to clinch one of those last 3 remaining playoff spots.
we're on Spotify now, by the way.
Yeah, we're on Spotify. So if you haven't had a chance to check us out there, if you prefer listening to the show on your way to work or when you're doing housework, whatever the case may be, we are now on Spotify. Immediately after the show, I'll go in and upload this episode to Spotify. So, and we're on Facebook as well. Don't forget to follow us there.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then for Birmingham, for then, if they win out, they're in, regardless of what happens with Louisville. They have the tiebreaker with beating Louisville in week 1. If they end up splitting a win and a loss this week and next week, I didn't have a ton of room to make a decent graphic as far as, what all the different scenarios are, but they'll need some help from some other teams. And then for Louisville, if they win out this week and next week and Birmingham loses one of those games, then they'll be in the playoffs.
And it has to be Birmingham. It can't be DC.
Correct. Yeah, no, because they're
Okay.
tied. Let me look at the official standings. I wish I would have made a note. I just wanted to get something quick on there.
Yeah.
But for Louisville and Birmingham right now, as far as the standings go, Louisville and Birmingham are tied at 4-4. DC's currently at 5-3. So
Okay.
a lot of if they do end up splitting weeks, or excuse me, if they do end up splitting wins, that's why I have a bunch of asterisks there. They'll need a lot of help as well from some other teams, with Orlando being one of them. But this, as far as what we have on the screen right now, these are just the easiest ways for any one of these teams to make the playoffs. And again, the 4 most likely teams to clinch one of those playoff spots. So
I'm still holding out for Columbus. I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'll be there by myself, but tickets are just like $20. Like, whatever. I got nothing going on. Go watch.
Honestly, you can't beat that.
One more time, come on, baby.
So I know you mentioned, we were talking yesterday about Columbus and how it's been a lot of fun, playing their historic Crew Stadium. How has the energy been now that the Aviators have been kind of the bottom dwelling team?
Sure. Well, first game was phenomenal. I mean, immediately everyone was just out of control. It was just a zoo, and it was so much fun. My mom, who's very, soft spoken and doesn't even Seahawk games, I've been to one game with her, and she was just kind of okay, but she was lost her voice, getting hoarse, and then my daughter was enjoying all the screaming and stuff. The second game, so I ended up going to I ended up getting better seats. It was the 27-yard line, and I was I don't know, probably 15 rows from the front or whatever. And it was a little more calm, and I saw the area I was in the first game, and I guess that's the flight deck. That's where all the rowdy fans go, and I was like, oh man, that looks pretty fun. So Rick says I'm looking a little dark. I'm going to turn off the game here, see if that makes me brighter. There.
There we go.
Yeah, that looks better. So it was kind of fun because me and my daughter just wanted to go bananas and just, boo players and all that stuff. So anytime the defense was up, one or two of us would just start cheering, getting loud, and then there'd be in the immediate area 6 to 10 people start getting up and cheering and doing stuff. So it feels like a lot of them are kind of a little they're the nervous 8th graders at the dance, oh, I want to go out there, but I don't want no one else is doing it. I don't want to. Right. It seems a little more one or two people jump up and start yelling and everything. Then you start a chain and everything, except for the flight deck. Everyone over there are just lunatics, and it's a lot of fun. But I mean, it was consistently and it's the one I went to. They said it was about 9,000 people, and that's a great crowd for Springfield or for
that's not for spring football. So, that's not bad at all. That really is not bad at all.
Yeah, and it looked like that. It wasn't like Houston, where it's oh yeah, 5,000 people. There's not 50 people there. It looked like 8,000 people. So I was happy.
No, Louisville always has a pretty good crowd. Obviously, the only 2 UFL stadiums I've been to are, of course, St. Louis, and I'm rocking my Kevon Latulis jersey that I just got in the mail. Super excited about that. And I went to a game with my neighbor a few weeks ago up in D.C. to watch the Battlehawks play up there, and that was a really good time. Honestly, if you're in the D.C. area and you have a chance to go to one of the DC Defenders games, they're a ton of fun. Honestly, now I spent up to have one of the field level seats, so I could be right there on the field with the players. I mean, I quite literally. In fact, I'll even share an image here with you. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're sounding like a robot a little bit. I don't know what fixes that or what, but it comes and goes, so I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you either, man. I think it's just my internet.
Because I got most of that, but there's definitely parts that you're saying stuff I didn't get. It was yeah, I better say something.
Gotcha. Anyway, do I sound better now?
A little bit.
Okay. I think it's just an internet
don't be
latency issue.
Yeah, don't let it distract you, Rick. Just
no, yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
But no, I got to go to cool. The DC Defenders game there in DC a while ago. We had field level seats, and it was really cool. We were just hooting and hollering. I've got my boy Kevon Latulis there, came up and gave me a high five, agreed to take a picture with me. He took a picture with my neighbor as well. And so I got to high five quite a few of the players there. And I know you probably can't see it too well because the screen's too small and my screen is a little bit dark. But right here, I have an Austin Prohl jersey, former player Austin Prohl. And yep, Adam chimed in, Latulis. And then Excalibur asked, did you contribute to the beer snake? Of course, even though we were the opposition there, I've got to give DC fans credit. They were super cool with Adam and I. They were really, really cool. We took a bunch of pictures with or at least I did. I don't know if Adam did. Took pictures with the DC fans, and it was a really, really awesome time. That's one thing that I like about spring football is you have a lot of people out there that are kind of negative Nancy's as far as spring football goes. My buddy Eric is one of them. But really, honestly, if you go to one of these games, especially if you go to one of the cities that has a little bit better fan support, like St. Louis or DC or Columbus, it honestly is a really good time, and you don't have to break the bank to get there. Just like I was saying earlier, Adam and I spent up to get field level seats, but honestly, we learned, and I think we're going to save this for the next time we go there. I'm really, really thinking about going to the championship, regardless of who's in it. Hopefully the Battlehawks. But we learned that we could have very easily bought quote unquote nosebleed seats, which really there's at a soccer stadium, there's not a bad seat in the house.
Right.
But we found out there is, and I don't know the name of it, but there's like a little bar or club over by the end zone there that is not quite field level, but it's like just above it, so you can like still see everything that's going on. And the bar's right there. So him and I were talking, the next time we go up there, I think we're just going to buy like whatever cheapest seats there are. And it's not like assigned seating. Like you don't have to have like special tickets to hang out there. So I think that's what we're going to do. The next time we go there, Adam and I talked about, we're just going to go hang out in that area there by the bar and just watch the game from there, save a little bit of money. I mean, the field level seats were super cool. Super glad that I got to high five a bunch of the Battlehawks players. Got an autograph from Ricky Prohl's son, Austin, who played for the team at one point. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, Excalibur himself says, very, very cool fans in DC, man. We got some Battlehawks fans up in the house tonight. What's going on, fellas?
Yeah. Cool. What was your friend saying who's not a UFL fan?
My buddy Eric. So that's that guy that I worked with whenever I was down in Florida. He joined our show that we were doing at the time a few times. He's just he's just not a fan of spring football. He tuned into a couple of not so great games and just completely wrote it off forever. I'm like, man,
that sucks.
Tune into a St. Louis game or a DC game. We didn't have Columbus at the time. But tune into one of those games.
Wait a year before the Columbus games were pretty bad. We suck. But I had a friend too who's because most people I talk to just don't know what I'm talking about. Like, and most people think that the XFL went away, and I think that was the worst decision the XFL made was merging with the USFL because there's so much name brand behind XFL. So when you get rid of all that built-up brand, name recognition, I think it hurt them really, really bad. So now when we talk about the UFL, unless you are an XFL or USFL fan, nobody really knows what the UFL is. And that's a real shame. And that's what happens when I talk to people about it. Like, I don't know what that is. Or the people that are just absolutely, no, I refuse to watch any spring football. Just like, oh, okay. And so I don't know if there's just words going around by commentators or what they're saying that, oh no, it's not real football or whatever. But yeah, I've had a couple. That's why I was kind of curious about what Eric said because, excuse me, that's people who know what it is and hate it, just have almost like a religiously like against like the existence of it kind of thing. It's like, huh. Okay, it's just football in the springtime. What's
that's
the problem?
Pretty much Eric in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Is he's one of those never spring football kind of guys.
Yeah,
that is pretty much Eric in a nutshell. But it is what it is. For us, that do watch spring football, we have a hell of a time with it. I encourage you, if you have a team, even within an hour of your area, unless you're like maybe Houston or somewhere like that, we obviously believe that some of these teams should be relocated to better markets for spring football. But no, if you're in the area of a UFL team, you have a chance to go. It's football, and you're not spending a ton of money to do it. So I really don't understand the hatred for it. For me, I'm a complete dork and a nerd when it comes to football. I know when I lived in Jacksonville, I got hyped over, and it wasn't even the biggest, most recognized arena football league. There was an arena football league that had a team from Jacksonville there, the Jacksonville Sharks, and they were in what started out as a 8-team league, and then as the season went on, it dwindled down to a 5-team league. But I still had a ton of fun with it. You know, it's you're going to a sports game and watching sports. Like, who the hell cares?
Well, I forget who was trying to sell you on Jacksonville, like as like your team.
Oh, that was Ryan. Ryan was selling me on the Jaguars. Yep.
And okay, I think he kind of sold us all on them a little bit because he was talking about how cheap the tickets are for Jacksonville. That they're not expensive at all. And then, like, all the different sports complexes that are very close to each other. We had, like, the pistol shrimp or whatever.
The jumbo shrimp.
The jumbo shrimp, like, single or double A baseball team. You had the arena football real close there, and then obviously the Jaguars thing. So, I don't know. That all sounded really fun. Anyway.
Jacksonville's awesome. You hit the nail right on the head.
Hey, you want to talk about some UFL expansion?
Let's do it. Which team you want to start out with?
Let's go.
Or city, rather.
On my list. Did I put the list on my notes here, or is that?
No, I put the list on my phone. I got 2 sets of notes. One that's on for both of us. Let's see. Where did I put?
I do have the stadiums right there.
Oh, I did
for
put
us
it
to be
on
able to
there.
queue up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Pull up the first one. We'll talk about it, I guess.
Okay. This is Albuquerque.
God, I thought I had
Albuquerque, New Mexico. So these are, just so everybody is aware, there are cities that the UFL has named as potential markets that they want to look into and explore expansion, obviously within the next, maybe not next year, but within the next 2 to 5 years. So we ourselves went through and we decided we wanted to look at some potential cities and potential stadiums that we would propose that they seriously look at. And this is University Stadium in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Go ahead, Danny.
Yep, home of the Aztecs. It's seats 40,000, so that's quite a bit for a UFL expansion team. But one of the things, I think location is great. It's definitely a major city. I think maybe the best idea to do is start out kind of what the Stallions are doing and just put this everyone to sit on one side, kind of fill those up, and hopefully they get more. But besides the Cardinals, I don't know how close Denver is to that area, but they are really, they are pretty far from any other major football team except college. So I think that would be a great place for a team to start.
Honestly, it's not a bad idea. I'm not sure what the fan base looks like there in New Mexico there for the Lobos, I think they're called. Mm-hmm. But, it's a decent-looking stadium. It looks like it would be perfect.
I had them as being the Aztecs. What are the Lobos?
The Lobos are you had put down the New Mexico. I think it was called Dream Style Stadium was the former name of that stadium.
Oh, okay.
The Aztecs are San Diego. Okay. I think you're thinking of the San Diego State Aztec, or maybe.
Oh, I got it mixed up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So.
Did I?
But no, New Mexico. It very well could be a decent UFL market. I'm not sure what the football fan base is out there. Do you have any other selling points as far as New Mexico as a market?
Well, no. I think it's one of those things where because it's a big enough city where I think there's just and nothing else around where I think just like Green Bay and what we've seen in St. Louis and some of these other places that don't have a pro football team and really nearby, I do think it's something that people would gravitate to. But I do like the idea of like Oklahoma City, where if you're announcing it 2 years from now and start seeing, what the buildup is like, and I guess you can't really back out if you announce it if we're trying to test everything out. But
Right.
I think football is just so American that I don't think it's. I'm really not worried about them for an entire state of New Mexico, and then there's obviously a couple other states in the area too that just don't have football, so or at least anything really close by.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's take a look at the comments section here. Adam says the Albuquerque hot air balloons, run it. So potential team names here for the New Mexico UFL team. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea whatsoever.
Isotopes.
I'm not even sure what type of branding you would give New Mexico, but it's an interesting idea. Nevertheless, I know you mentioned Oklahoma City, so that is for sure. The UFL has announced that they will officially be part of a new expansion franchise in 2028. It looks like the Maps 4 multi-purpose stadium. So
hey,
I don't
really
have
quick
a video
before we
for that
move
one.
on.
But yeah.
Before we move on, rapid fire, pick a name for New Mexico or Albuquerque.
The Albuquerque Muskrats. I don't know.
I love it.
What about you? Go ahead.
I think Roadrunners.
Roadrunners? Yeah, that's not bad.
I don't know.
Not bad whatsoever.
Coyotes. Hey, Coyotes.
Hey, Coyotes.
Roadrunner
Yeah, there you
Coyote. Yeah, I like that.
But would you call them the New Mexico Coyotes, or would you call them the Albuquerque Coyotes?
I think Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next stadium here. Looks like the next on our list is going to be Boise. This is Albertsons Stadium, home of the Boise Broncos, I think. Are they called?
It's the Broncos, yeah. Where is it?
So, what do you got on this one?
Just like Albuquerque, it seats
40,000. I just every picture of it. The only time I ever saw it was on TV. You just see that blue field, and it's always kind of like it just seems like a gimmick to me. Like, okay, whatever. And the team I used to follow a lot more when I lived in Washington State was the Eastern Washington Hawks, and they did kind of the same thing except they did red. But man, all the pictures I saw of the Broncos Stadium just looked super, super cool. And again, 40,000 is a big stadium for spring football. I do think it would go pretty well. I think maybe a lot of people who are in the Pacific Northwest, like, I lost the Dragons. I could see them, maybe leaning more towards that. I think Boise is really close to the Washington State border. Oh, no, it's not. I think it's like right in the middle. But either way, it borders it. When we think of like Eastern Washington, we kind of think of Idaho and all that, kind of in the same vein. But all the pictures I saw just looked like a really cool stadium. So, again, I like the isolated locations. I like the idea of putting a team just the same way in a town in the same way they did with Green Bay. So I would be definitely rooting for this. And it's the same thing with like Louisville. Louisville was the one I was really pushing because I was like, man, they don't have anything in the state. I think they would go bonkers over that. And I got the same idea with Boise that they would just be very gung-ho to have a pro team on their field.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Boise is definitely an interesting stadium. Real quick, Excalibur chimed in and said, Albuquerque skin flutes. That'd be interesting. I'm not sure if you can get Micropoli to buy off on that, but interesting idea nevertheless. I mean,
You'll never
Boise,
guess it's a percussion.
this stadium here in Boise, currently known as Albertsons Stadium, it's definitely one of the more iconic football stadiums in that it has the blue field. I've got to be honest, for me personally, I've never loved that. I think the blue field looks hideous. I know there's a lot of people that are huge fans of it.
Yeah.
That said, I don't hate it as a spring football market. Like you said, it seats close to 40,000 people there, which is perfect for a spring football team. If they only have 20,000 and it's all just the lower bowl, well, you're no harm, no foul. But if you need more seats, great. Like, you can still have a rock solid TV product in a market that is not saturated by the NFL. I think it's a big thing there. So I don't hate the idea for Boise at all.
I feel the same way you think about the blue, and I said the same thing. I was always kind of turned off by it, but while looking at fields like for this project, I saw just all the pictures from the stadium that was like from the bleachers and just the outside of it. Like, man, that's like, even without the blue, it's such a cool looking stadium. So, so I think all the ones that we're going through right here, I think are great locations. But I think these ones would be the ones that would be the best place to actually best stadiums for those areas too. So.
Excalibur says, bring back the LFL, otherwise known as the Lingerie Football League. I'll tell you what, man, that league, I know its whole gimmick was it's a bunch of scantily clad broads playing football, but I'll tell you this much, football. Man. Yeah. They are playing football. They are trying to kill each other. I mean, the hits, if you go back and watch, just do yourself a favor after the show here. Go onto YouTube and type in Lingerie Football League hits, like hit highlights or just LFL highlights. Forget hits. If you look up any of the highlights there, those broads are trying to kill each other.
And I'll tell you what, this is one of the ones I felt like so misogynist about like watching, because I was up late one night and I'd never watched it or anything, and I saw those on and I was like, I'll check this out. I'll see some girls. And within like 5 minutes, the lingerie thing wasn't a factor, and then I was just like, girls are just, and you could tell that like all of them were girls who were just trying to play football. And man, I really felt bad afterward. Like within like 5 minutes, like, oh man, they're actually like, I thought they're gonna like bring out pillows and there'd be like a section of near the end zone that was all like mud or jello and like different stuff going there. It was like, no, they're actually trying to play football. Like, oh.
Right,
girls, right. You can put your clothes on. You don't need to do that.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, and then Adam chimed in and said an LFL team in Boise could be called the Boise Bouncers. And Excalibur says they were impressive.
Yeah,
that could definitely be something. That could be something. I want to move on to
Excalibur
our
likes them for the personality.
Yeah, totally. He just likes them for the personality. Absolutely nothing more. All right, I want to move on to the next one here. Yeah. This is Providence Park in Portland, Oregon.
Yes.
I think definitely a market that could desperately use some more football. I mean, huge potential and huge opportunity here. Another soccer stadium, and as you can see, this is a pretty legit venue.
This is, I think, my favorite venue out of the whole thing. Let's see, it seats 25,000, so I think it's perfect for the UFL. There's so many just kind of cool little parts about it. Like there's like 3 or 4 rows of bleachers like stacked right on top of each other, so you're close and it's just sort of tall. The actual stadium itself is like actually like really old. Like I don't know, I think it's like built in the 20s or something, and they've just kind of fixed it up and done some stuff over the time. But especially with Seattle not having, and I'm okay with Portland having a team and not Seattle. I mean, it'd still be kind of cool because they're just not doing. They're trying to find the places that don't have NFL teams.
Right. I think that's kind of the big thing.
Yeah, and I think that is probably the best thing for the league, and it's finding those marketplaces that that would like take football in their city. So I think Portland would do that. And it's funny because this was like the last one on my list because it was like, I don't know about Portland. Let's see. And so I just started kind of digging into it a little bit, and I was like, man, I think this is like my new favorite new location if they picked one, like they expanded past Oklahoma. So I don't know. This one might have my vote. I think it's just a great stadium. It's the perfect size, perfect location. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, no, I think it's a cool looking stadium. It's situated right there in Portland. It looks like there's a lot of stuff. Now, I've only been to Portland just passing through when we were moving from, actually, I used to live up in Washington State, as you know. when we moved to San Diego from there, we passed through Portland. And Portland's a cool city. There's a lot of really neat stuff to do there. I think that this, and really, at first, I was not sold on the whole soccer stadium idea with the UFL, but some of these places are pretty freaking cool looking, man. And I think that Providence Park is certainly no exception to that rule if they were to look into that as a potential UFL market, which Mike Rapoli hasn't said anything about Portland yet. He has obviously, again, Oklahoma City's official. They've mentioned possibilities such as Austin, Salt Lake City, which we'll get into in a minute, Omaha, Albuquerque, and New York City. But I'm completely on board with Portland getting a team, having some Pacific Northwest representation that's not already saturated by the NFL. I'm 100% in favor of it.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, let's get into our next one here. This is Salt Lake City, Utah. This is America First Field in Salt Lake, home of Real Salt Lake of the MLS, I believe. What do you got?
This was my original first pick. I think Salt Lake City is, they just got an NHL team. There's talk about them maybe getting an MLB team here soon. So just like Las Vegas, this might be kind of the new
location where they're just getting a lot more. What did I have for Salt Lake City?
20,000 seats. So again, perfect for the UFL. I think it's the home of the Salt Lake City Real. Soccer names are stupid.
Real Salt Lake is, I think, the name of the team.
The Real Salt Lake, whatever. They're all weird names. So it's, but that's just the way they are. So I think it's proper for the UFL to go in there and get a team with a decent name.
It'd be interesting. Again, I'm 100% in favor of exploring markets that don't have an NFL presence there. And I think that Salt Lake could potentially be a decent one. Not sure. I mean, they have the Utah Jazz. Now they have the Utah Mammoth, who, by the way, I know I've said in the past that the Seattle Kraken have the best branding in all of sports. I think the Utah Jazz definitely gives them a run for their money. That's a freaking cool branding that the Utah Jazz has. But no, I think Salt Lake City, it's an underrated sports market. I mean, you can see here in this video, people definitely show up to sports games. You know, this is obviously a soccer team that they're supporting, but I think that there's definitely some real potential here for a UFL team. I'm not sure what you would even begin to call them. I mean, what are some ideas you would have for a team name?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. You can't really do, God, it sucks 'cause you can't really do like Indian names anymore. And I always thought that would be kind of cool if you had like a tribe name. Like I'm not sure if the Sioux or the Apache or who's down there, but I always thought those were really cool. I know they had, some presidents like Cherokee and stuff like that. So I think that would be kind of cool, but I don't know. I don't think that's a thing they'll ever start doing again. But that's what comes to my mind immediately when I think of that. I don't know, Rick. What do you think? There's canyons. What's in Salt Lake City that makes you say, like, hey, are there coyotes there? Let's do another.
I don't know. Right. Isn't that where isn't Utah have a pretty big Mormon population?
Oh, the Brigham Youngs. The golden tablets, let's go!
Yeah, let's go.
Go tablets!
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. Let us know in the comment section if the UFL were to put a team in Salt Lake City, what would they be called? Let us know in the comment section now. But I've got nothing else, so if you don't have any opposition, looks like we got here. Adam says the Salt Lake Profits. That's actually interesting.
Not too bad.
Profits.
Maybe something, I don't know, like Wagoneers or something. Is that
Wagoneers? Yeah, that's not bad. Salt Lake City Wagoneers. I don't hate that. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've got for Utah. I say let's go ahead and head to our last potential UFL expansion site here. This is Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego, California, home of the San Diego State Aztecs. It is on the same plot of land where the San Diego Chargers used to play. Same exact plot of land.
Oh, really?
This is actually my personal favorite for a UFL expansion site. Understood geographically right now, they're trying to save money by not going all the way over to the West Coast. So if they do look at a place like San Diego or even Portland, anywhere close to the West Coast there, it's probably going to be a little bit further down the line as they continue to build the league. But of all the places we've talked about, whether during this show or in the past, this specific stadium is my favorite, and I'll tell you why. It is, first of all, they can seat 35,000, but it's expandable up to 55,000. San Diego, they did that specifically. When they tore down Qualcomm Stadium and built Snapdragon here, the blueprints were such that, they had it outfitted just for the college team there, with a brand new stadium, but they could easily upgrade it to be a 55,000 seat stadium. So they can expand it to be NFL worthy. As far as location goes, it's in a prime spot there in San Diego. Not even a 10-minute drive with traffic. You are right by just an absolute plethora of military housing units out there. So, I mean, even if you have people that are not San Diego diehards, although you'll get that too, you'll get the disgruntled, betrayed San Diego Chargers fans. But beyond that, you've got a bunch of Sailor and Marines. I mean, just a whole mess of military housing right there that they just want to show up to a football game closer to their house and drink beer. So
do you think they are as pissed off as people in St. Louis because their team moved like 2 hours down the road versus St. Louis that they moved like all the way to the West Coast? Like, do you think obviously they filled up, seats of the Chargers, but do you think they would go there angrily like the St. Louis fans would?
I don't know that it's even angrily. I mean, I don't think that people show up to Battlehawks games because of the fact that they're mad at the Rams. I think people show up to Battlehawks games because St. Louis is a great football market.
Sure.
Real quick, Excalibur chimed in and said, Sea Dragons was a cool name when they were in Seattle. Excuse me, would sound good with Salt Lake.
Salt Lake Dragons.
I don't know Salt Lake Dragons. Yeah, that's not bad. I don't hate that.
Huh. Okay.
But,
yeah, I like it. I don't know what kind. I was just thinking about teams. I don't know if this is too. First thing that popped in my head, a little on the nose, but since it used to be the Chargers, they could be the Bolts.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, because if you think back when the XFL came back in 2020, when they had a team there in Houston, they did a subtle nod to Houston's history with the Oilers, and you had the Roughnecks there.
Right.
So I think if they kind of do something that's a sub. Well, they got sued because the logo that they had at the time, in the NFL's mind, according to them, it looked too much like the Houston Oilers. And to me, I could easily tell the difference.
It's like, you're not using it. Like, get out of here.
Right. But also, I think it looked different enough that you could easily tell the difference, that it was not the Houston Oilers.
Sure.
But
yeah.
Neither here nor there. As far as San Diego goes, again, aside from just having the military housing there, there's a bunch of different public transportations. I know there's a metro that runs right through that area next to the highway there that Snapdragon Stadium sits on. So I think a lot
Home of the Wave, Rick.
Oh, there you go. The San Diego Wave. That wouldn't be bad.
That's their soccer name. I'm just
the Wave.
ripping on soccer names. It's the Wave.
No, I love San Diego. As far as names go, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Something like the Bolts, or maybe even Aftershock, something that's kind of a subtle nod to, the whole Chargers. Although what I will say, I know it was not very long-lived, but during the 5 weeks that the AAF was around, when they had the San Diego Fleet, San Diego, first of all, I think they were number 2, I think, to San Antonio. The San Antonio Commanders, I think they were called. But the San Diego Fleet was the second best team as far as attendance goes before that horribly mismanaged league went under. But I thought
I
that,
do hear a lot of people say the Fleet for San Diego. Like that name has definitely come up multiple times. Like bring back the Fleet. So like,
yeah, 100. I thought that branding wise, the San Diego Fleet was by far the best, and that's of course a nod to the fact that they have a very, very strong Navy presence there in San Diego.
Yeah.
So I'd be cool with it. I mean, I don't know who they'd have to talk to as far as getting the rights to that goes, but yeah, 100%. I'd be cool with either something that's a nod to the Chargers or San Diego Fleet, especially because, again, you're a 5-minute drive from so many different military housing complexes out there.
Yeah.
So
some
I
of those
think
restaurants
San
look really
Diego's
cool in there.
Oh,
some
yeah.
of those, like kind of bar areas that kind of overhang on the field that looks really sick.
Absolutely. And I'm kicking myself that we never got to go to a game there at Qualcomm before they tore it down while I lived there, but it is what it is. But I think that is going to, unless you have anything else for San Diego,
Nope,
I think
that's
that
all
just
I
about
got.
wraps us up as far as potential UFL expansion sites go. If you have some other cities in mind, let us know in the comment section. Where do you think that the NFL should expand whenever they finally do? Let us know. But that's all we've got. I know the NFL just recently, all of the teams released their schedules on their various social media platforms. So what were some of your favorites and your least favorites?
Yeah, so I actually I watched maybe like 2 last year, and then the more it's like every year this comes up, it's becoming. I was talking about this with you yesterday. It's becoming almost like the halftime Super Bowl, where it's a bigger and bigger production thing. So what did I have for? So I actually sat through and watched every one of them. Some of them are. There's one I want to talk about at some point. That was only like 30 seconds long, and I thought was worth talking about. And then some of them are like 18 minutes long, and they can be a slog. And there's a lot of good ones too. Off the top, the Ravens, I thought had a really great one. All it was just super simple. There were some 2 Ravens fans that were getting married, and I think it was Zay Flowers crashed the wedding and did the live read with them for the where the teams are going. I thought that was a lot of fun. Let's see, Indy had theirs was just silly. They just did clips from The Simpsons of but just a quote from each team that they're going against. Like they're playing Miami, and then it shows Homer from an older episode Miami, but that's America's wing. And so I was like, that's actually pretty clever. See, the other one I liked was Kansas City. I thought they had a great one. It was I forget the guy's name. I think the girl might have been famous too, but it's the guy from he's from Step Brothers. He's like a comedian. He's like a former Marine. You remember? It's the Catalina wine cooler, and he's the
Catalina wine mixer. Yeah, I know
yeah,
exactly.
Catalina
what you're
wine
talking
mixer.
about. I
Yeah,
can't think of his
it's
name.
that act. I can't remember his name. He's a former Marine, but he's on a lot of goofy. Oh, he's on not Due Date, the other one. The Hangover. Remember, he's the one who gets the kid to. He's one of the cops that gets the kid to shoot Zach Galifianakis in the face, in the face, face. Yeah, so it's him and this girl, and they're doing a
Rob Riggle, as I think who you're
Oh,
talking
thank
about.
you. Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
But they're doing an infomercial, selling different stuff, and each product they have is basically something to do with whatever team they're going against. But they're supposed to be a divorced couple that have to pretend that they're happy and that sounds something just like your mother-in-law said, and they just keep going back and just ripping on each other, and it's super funny. I think of all the ones, that's my favorite. What else? And the last one I really liked. There's a lot of ones I did like. They weren't my top 4, but the Giants. Jameis Winston. I didn't even know he was on the Giants, but
Yeah.
dude, I really like
That
Jameis
was
Winston.
hilarious. I freaking
you watched that
loved-
one?
Yes.
Okay, that was oh my god,
Where it was
Jameis Winston is hilarious. He
Yes,
is so I
he-
didn't even realize it was him when he first started doing it, but his whole thing was just he was giving out tickets, and then he was drawing whatever team logo that they were playing that way. So you start drawing some stuff, and I don't know, is that an eagle? And yes, that's it. Here's a ticket, and he's just he looks like he's drawing with his feet. He's so bad, at drawing all this stuff, and so he's going at and man, he was. I didn't realize he had that much personality. I thought he was awesome.
Dude, Jameis Winston is honestly, he is a gem. He must be protected at all costs. Of all the players,
get him all the crap
at the
crap
very
legs he
least.
wants.
At the very least, currently in the NFL, personality-wise, Jameis Winston is by far one of my favorite players, if not my favorite player, just based on personality alone. Currently in the NFL,
Yeah.
he's freaking hilarious. I saw that they had. I forget the name that they came up with for him. He's wearing the little French hat and stuff, and he's got his easel.
Yeah,
and
I forgot. He's got
doing his
the beret or whatever.
Right, the beret.
It's
Thank
so
you.
funny. Yeah.
That was great.
Well, I was gonna say that I don't think I had them on my worst list, but there's one that I got the opposite vibe where, like, watching Winston, I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't realize he's so cool, and then I watched like this 18-minute video of the Eagles. And the premise wasn't a bad idea. They just get like 5 players with Jalen Hurts like at the head of this conference table. They go around taking turns, picking off the side. They open up the thing, and they're reading it for the first time. They're learning just like we are. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We're playing Pittsburgh, and then, okay, who else to go? Okay, Kansas City, cool. And they're just chatting, making conversation with it. But the entire time, friggin' Jalen Hurts just trying to aura farm the whole time, just. He's just, like for 18 minutes he's just doing that, just trying to look cool.
Yeah.
And then he just turns to each player like, Jamal, tell me your thoughts about this season. And then you can tell like where I can't remember the names of the player, but the guy just like had to kind of stop whatever he was, just being cool with his buddies. Just like. I'm just really thankful to play with my bros, and I know it's just going to be like a tough season, but I'm willing to fight and give it all and just give it 100%. And just Hurts is just Michael.
Yeah, that one was.
Dude, I hate you so much. I never cared about Hurts before that, but now I'm like, dude, if you had to have that guy as your leader for like an entire season, I would shoot myself. Like that just is so, especially as like bad as his throwing ass is. I was just like, dude, I could not put up with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, no, as far as the schedule releases go, that one I would say is among my least favorite. My favorite one by far, I think, was talking about Step Brothers. My favorite was the Las Vegas Raiders.
That was
that
was
whole
a good
bit.
one.
I've got to tip my hat to Kirk Cousins. I really almost feel like I kind of owe Kirk Cousins an apology. Before they did.
I don't know why everyone hates him. I've always loved him, but everyone hates him for some reason.
Well, as far as Kirk Cousins goes, before there was a Netflix documentary, like docu-series, I should say, that came out a few years ago. I think it's just called Quarterback. But before that docu-series came out, I used to rag on Kirk Cousins. I thought for whatever reason, my impression of Kirk Cousins was that he was a dick. But the opposite is true. Like, I watched that Quarterback docu-series when he was with the Falcons, and he's freaking cool, man. He's kind of a dork, but he's just a big nerd. But I thought it was so cool that, going there to Las Vegas, I think he probably, and them having the number 1 overall pick and using it on a quarterback, he's probably under no impression that he's there to, be there for very long. Yeah. Right. So I think he kind of understands the assignment, and the fact that he was able to do that with the guy that is definitely there to replace him. Like, no questions asked. Yeah. He is there to replace Kirk Cousins. But for him to be cool enough to do that Step Brothers bit like that,
Matt Stafford,
I thought that was
Aaron
hilarious.
Rodgers wouldn't do that. Matt Stafford wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Hell no.
Get this guy out of here.
Matt Stafford wouldn't do that with Ty Simpson. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't do it with Jordan Love. Brett Favre wouldn't have done it with Aaron Rodgers, and the list goes on and on. But I thought that, and it was just a funny video. I loved the whole Step Brothers bit. I thought that was excellent.
I think the Rams had a good one too. It was really simple. It was just straight out of Napoleon Dynamite, like the beginning, same music. And when they're doing the credits and they have the different foods, like the different corn dogs and the weird like frozen steak and the tots and everything just kind of moving in front of them. and all they did was just same music, did the same thing, just different little meals. They'd shift in front of the camera, exactly like that. But they just did the schedule. Like, dude, that's actually like it's not super funny and not even that original, but yeah, I like it. I want to quickly go through some of the worst ones because God, Lord Jesus, there were some bad ones. On near the top of my list, I don't know if it's quite the worst one, but man, it was just a gruel to get through. The Bills. Okay, so something that always drives me nuts in like film festivals. Like I did film in college. That's kind of my background. You do these a lot of times. They have these like 24, 48 hour film festivals where that's how much time you have to write, produce, like shoot, edit, and get back to the theater and post your stuff. And without fail, there's always a group that just thinks they're so clever, and they always make a movie about them sitting around trying to think of like how do we make a movie in 48 hours? And they script it, and then eventually maybe something stupid happens, or the whole thing of them is coming up with the idea at the end. And this is exactly what the Bills did. And I think the video is like 8 minutes long, but it's like 8 minutes of, what if we did a barbershop quartet? And interesting, I don't know about that. And it just keeps going. And I was like, man, this is 8 minutes. How much time is left? And I look at it, it's like 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, no! Like, I think I'm like halfway through, and then the joke is that Josh Allen is in the background, and he's like, chrysalis. And doesn't say anything. Well, what do you mean by that, Josh? Like, chrysalis. You mean like a caterpillar, like butterfly? He's like, chrysalis. And it's like, and at the very end, it's like, okay, why don't we combine the ideas? And so they do a barbershop quartet and then a big cocoon in the middle, and it takes 8 minutes to get through. And 8 minutes doesn't sound like a whole lot of time, but it is a long time.
Yeah, it can drag on for sure.
Yeah. The Jets, there's kind of a cool idea, but when you realize it's like 4 minutes left, it's like, oh, this is so boring. You're literally watching a guy with a little paint spatula mixing two colors together, and then what is it? It's the Titans, because it's the color of the Titans. And it's like, oh, dude.
Right.
We're going to do this for every team. This is going to be a long one.
Yeah, that one was awful.
The Pittsburgh was super annoying. Just like a guy giving him a tour of the stadium and is just trying to muscle in every Pittsburgh cliche, and none of it really comes off well. It's just really annoying. That's another one that's just super long. And it's like, here, like in Pittsburgh, we call people a jag-off, or like, we like to reserve our like parking spots with a chair, and we put French fries on everything. It's like, shut up. The worst one, Bills was so bad, but I said New Orleans, but it might be the Bills. It's just like the local weather people.
Yeah.
And did you watch New Orleans?
I did not see that one. No,
dude. I might have to. I'm gonna see if I can. Do you care if I pull it up like for like 30 seconds?
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me try and pull this up here. We practiced this yesterday, and we'll see if this will actually work. And I won't subject you to the whole video, but.
Yeah, while you're pulling that up, I guess I will just touch real quick on what my least favorite was. My least favorite of the ones that I saw was probably either the Arizona Cardinals or the San Francisco 49ers. The Cardinals was it was just AI slop. It was just all the mascots like getting together on like a Skype call or Teams call or whatever.
Yeah. The Niners was weird, wasn't it?
It was very weird, but those two were my least favorite.
Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can see. Rick taught me how to do this. Let me see if I can do share screens. Okay. Share. Okay. I'm going to blow this up here. Might be a little blurry.
Evening, I'm Hoda Kotb. We begin tonight with a very special forecast, and it's looking a little competitive. Margaret?
In New Orleans, we know a thing or two about tracking storms. I've been asked to take a look at what could be a threat this season. So here's a deep dive into what's in store because we want you to be prepared. We want you to know what's going to happen. The Carolina Panthers are going to try to build on their winning 2025 season, but the Saints' fast young offense is going to be like a squall line moving through the Panther defense. Now, a huge heat dome is plaguing the Atlanta Falcons. They are feeling fried after an 8-season losing streak. The area is...
Yeah, that's enough. That's just going to...
I mean, I don't think it was that bad. I liked that certainly better than I did the Cardinals.
No, I would take the Cardinals over that for like 8 minutes. Just that lady just
could
doing
not
storm
disagree
warning
more.
for every single, like for 18 different teams. It's like, dude.
I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was kind of funny, but now I kind of want to go back and watch the whole thing. I thought it was kind of funny.
Maybe I was just miserable and pissed off. It was like one of the last ones I watched, like 32 teams. Like, God, I hate this. Like,
fair enough.
Like, I hate you, New Orleans. But, the last one I want to talk about really quickly. Did you watch the Lions? It was the shortest one of all of them. It was 30 seconds. And it's Dan Campbell. He's in his office, and he's printing something out, and in the background you're saying, like, there's Dan Campbell in different interviews and stuff. It's like, we're not about fun and games. We're about business. This is our opportunity to, to make our chances. Our last time that we can go out there and still be competitive and all this stuff. And Dan Campbell comes out and he takes the schedule and like tacks it on the board and like walks away, and that's the schedule and that's the video. So watching that, I am convinced Dan Campbell was like, listen, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the schedule. I'm just going to put it on that board. We're going to get it in one take, and then you're all going to get the fuck out of my office because I don't have time for this shit. Like,
honestly,
that's exactly the vibe that you got from it. It was just like, okay, that's what we're doing.
I would not be shocked in the slightest whatsoever. And honestly, Dan Campbell might be my current favorite.
Eminem was
coach.
Yeah, Eminem was here. We're gonna do this whole rap battle. We thought it'd be fun, but okay, Dan, that's what he says we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna.
Honestly, wouldn't shock me whatsoever. That is definitely Dan Campbell in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But all right, well, that was NFL schedule releases. Let us know in the comment section what were some of your favorite NFL schedule release videos, and which ones did you just absolutely hate? Let us know in the comment section, and we'll put it up here on the screen. While we've got a little bit of time left before we head out, let's talk some hockey.
Get ready for Stanley Cup Carnage.
Is that goal regulation size or what?
Where legends are made and fan bases implode. It's the RAD Sports Show Stanley Cup Playoff Review.
Yep, so we have the NHL Conference Championships. The Colorado Avalanche are currently taking on the Vegas Knights in the Western Conference Finals. And in the East, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Montreal Canadiens. Both have already played game one, and both teams that I thought would win did not in game one. Both upsets happened in pretty convincing fashion. You had the Vegas Knights winning against the Colorado Avalanche in Colorado, no less, 4-2. And then Montreal put a pretty good beating, I think 6-2 over Carolina in game one. So right now it's looking like these are both going to be really, really good series. But I did say last week that of the teams remaining for Colorado, I thought that Vegas was going to be their biggest headache so far out of all of the teams remaining.
So, and I didn't hear you say the Sabres. Are the Sabres out now?
Yep. So last week, I know when we were still on air, the same night of the Ronda Rousey fight, last Saturday, they went into, I think it was game 5. They could have, like Excalibur said, Montreal whooped them last night. Montreal absolutely put a hurting on Carolina last night. They had a chance. The game hadn't happened yet, but they had a chance to clinch it in game 5. The Sabres did, or excuse me, I don't remember, but one of them could have clinched in game 5. It ended up going to game 6, and Montreal advanced, and they put an absolute hurting on Carolina last night. So I don't know. Yeah. So we were talking about last week how of the teams remaining, we were going to go all in and root for the Buffalo Sabres simply because they've never won a Stanley Cup championship. And I think it's been since, what was it, like 1994, some crazy shit like that, since they had even been in a conference final, or excuse me, Stanley Cup finals. I don't know. Have they even, well, I don't remember. I'm going to have to look. That's going to bug the crap out of me now. But.
So who are you rooting for now? Is it the Avalanche? Is it Carolina?
Oh, no, I will no, absolutely not. I'm not rooting for the Avalanche. No, yeah, so the last conference championship that Buffalo won was in the 1998 to 1999 season. So they haven't even been to the Stanley Cup since 99. But no, I will never root for the Colorado Avalanche because Stan Kroenke owns that team. Am I right, Excalibur?
Right. I forgot about
we
that.
will never root for a Stan Kroenke-owned team.
Yeah.
Tell them, Excalibur. Tell them. But I guess of the teams remaining, I'm probably going to root for 1994 when the Rams were still in L.A. Yeah, no, I messed that up. It was actually the 98 to 99 season. So I guess actually.
Tell them you stole the Rams first?
Yeah, actually, you could technically say the Rams were still in L.A. because I think they came. No. They were in. It was 99 that they won the Super Bowl, I believe. So I'm thinking backwards. But yeah, no, that was.
Against the Titans.
Yeah, against the Titans. And I actually have a picture right there of Mike Jones making the tackle at the 1 yard line.
1 yard line, yeah.
Yep. So I think of the teams remaining, I'm probably. It's tough. Like, you really can't hate the Vegas Knights. I mean, like we had talked about last week, they've been in the league for 9 years, and this is the 5th time that they've gone to a conference final. So
yeah,
that's freaking incredible, man. And their branding is super cool.
I've never really
like.
Not the
branding,
the Rams,
but
no, I like their branding. I just think like getting to the playoffs that many times is like
that's insane.
Yeah. That's
Excalibur's
enough.
right.
Let
The
someone
Rams
else in
came
there.
to St. Louis in 1995. I had a little brain fart there for a second, but yeah, having been to the conference finals 5 times in 9 years is insane. But I think that I'm going to root for Carolina. Simply because. Go ahead.
I'm the same way. They're the last ones left, and I'm like, I mean, I was okay with the Avalanche until I guess Kroenke and all that. I'm tired of the Golden Knights going in all the time. I'm not rooting for the Canadians. I used to, but just this year with the Olympics, I'm like, no, we can't let the drought end just yet. Next year, I'm okay with it. So yeah, Carolina's like the last horse in the race, I guess. So
fair enough.
The RAD Sports Show is officially like a Carolina NHL station.
And with that, we just signed the Carolina Hurricanes death note, just like we did Buffalo last week. So. Yeah, no, like I said, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I'm not going to root for Vegas simply because it does get kind of obnoxious, the fact that they just keep going back to the playoffs. But Colorado does too. They've been one of the better teams in recent memory. I mean, hell, this year, at least throughout the regular season, they were far and away the best team in the league. They're just insane. So, like I said last week, I think of the teams remaining, Vegas definitely gives them the biggest headache. They have the best chance to beat Colorado, in my opinion. I think whoever wins the West wins the championship, wins the whole damn thing. So, but I want to know what you guys think of the conference finals that are going on right now. Which 2 teams do you think will advance to the Stanley Cup finals? And I didn't type this in there, but who do you think wins it all? So 2 questions there for you. Which 2 teams advance and which one wins it all? Let us know in the comments. But who do you got, Danny? Who do you have moving on from these series? I know it's only been game 1 so far, and Vegas and Montreal are both currently up 1-0.
Vegas and Montreal. I'll go opposite. I'll go Carolina and Avalanche just for. I mean,
just to be the contrarian.
Okay, I guess, but I mean, I honestly think that. I don't know. You're telling I haven't followed a whole lot. You're telling me the Avalanche just seems unstoppable right now. So yeah, I'm going to take the Avalanche and. Yeah, I will be the contrarian, actually. I'm going to take
fair enough.
I'm going to take the Hurricane.
We'll see what the comments say here before the end of the show, but that's it for our Stanley Cup recap. It's going to be a good series, I think, for both the West and the East. Conference Finals. We'll see who moves on to the Stanley Cup final there. But I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the weekly sports bet and our dog of the week. You want to fill us in on that?
Okay, yeah. I don't know if we're gonna have enough time for that, but we'll do it. Something me and Rick talked about doing for a while, and I think it'd be kind of fun. I'm a big sports gambler. But I actually never bet a lot. I do like 50 cents or $1, only because the more you bet of any amount, the more likely you're going to lose more, or at best break even over time. You're going to have a big win, and then you're going to lose a lot like over time. So I'm not into that. But I think betting can be fun to make whatever game you're watching a lot more fun. Maybe you don't like women's basketball. You don't care about the Liberty versus the Storm. But if you put a bet on a dollar on the team, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is pretty fun. So me and Rick thought it would be fun to take $5 and each week we distribute that $5 however we want, and then next week we come back and we see how we did and who did better. I'm doing draft. We're both betting off of DraftKings, and they got some kind of promotion, and I don't really know the specifics because I've never done DraftKings before, but it says a $5 bet. They'll give you $100 of betting money. That sounds kind of, we're not promoting them. That's what they're saying they're doing, and I maybe don't know all the details to it. So I'm just making one $5 bet, and it is with the Columbus Aviators, because I'm going to that game tomorrow. And what were the odds on it? It was, refresh. And I think it was just to beat the spread. I think it's like 11 spread. And it's not logging me back in. But basically, I put $5 in, and then if I win, I get like $9. So I was like, all right, whatever.
Okay.
Beat the 11-point spread. So I'll take that.
Yeah, so I went in. I actually did not make. I kind of broke my $5 up a little bit. So I put in 3 separate bets.
Yeah.
I'm actually one of them.
I'll do that next week.
One of them is the game going on right now between the aforementioned Vegas Knights, who are currently up 1-0 in the. How far along is this game? Oh, they're already in the third period. So like halfway through the third period, the Vegas Knights are currently up 2-1 over the Colorado Avalanche. But I've got I just took the money line for the Vegas Knights to win tonight, regardless of what the score was. So I've got that one. And then I also took the money line for the Carolina Hurricanes in Game 2 tomorrow night against the Montreal Canadiens. Another $2 bet. The Vegas Knights, if they win tonight, that $2 that I bet will turn into $4.80. And then tomorrow, the Carolina Hurricanes, that $2 bet, if they beat the Canadiens, that $2 bet turns into a $2.97 bet. So I won't quite make $1 off of that one. And then my last bet, I bet $1 on the St. Louis Battlehawks against the Houston Gamblers. And I bet against the spread for this one. I didn't take the money line. So the spread was -3. So the Battlehawks have to win by at least 4 points for me to make any money off of that one. And if I do win, that $1 turns into $1.92.
Nice.
So
yeah, I just rechecked it again. It wasn't 11.5. It was 1.5. So by a factor of 10, I was off. Like, this is easy money.
I didn't even
beat that
catch
spread.
That.
Whoa! I'm like, go back. So either way, I'll about double my money and beat Rick if that happens. So yeah, we will find out.
Maybe, I don't know. I kind of spread my bets out a little bit, but let's see here. We got. Excalibur says, got a split, fellas. Great show. We are actually wrapping up ourselves. Do us a favor. If you like the show, check us out on Facebook. We are on Spotify as well. YouTube and Facebook are probably where we are going to be putting a lot of our short form content. Once we've been established for a little while, I'll probably pop in and do a, hey, who do you got for this matchup type of thing. So any type of short form content that'll be there on Facebook and YouTube. I think we're also working on getting on Twitch and Discord as well. But for now, you can find us here, Facebook and Spotify. So if you need something to listen to on your commute to work, feel like you're hanging out with your buddies, talking shit, talking sports, you've come to the right place. That is going to do it for us tonight. Unless, Danny, do you have anything before we head out?
Really quickly, shout out to Dang It's Robe. Shout out to Steven Ranutz. Shout out to Excalibur 2020. Shout out to Adam Thompson. And I think unless I'm missing one, I think I got them all. So,
Yep.
yeah. Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
everybody tuning in. We will be back again next Friday night, same time, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. This has been the RAD Sports Show. I'm Rick Horn. That's Danny Gilmore. We'll catch you next week.